So next up, we have a journalist turned digital marketing communication specialist turned conversational AI advocate. She is all about modernizing the world through forward-thinking solutions. Right now, she's Senior Manager Conversation Design at GoDaddy, and here to talk to us about our industry and where it is going. Who and what are we affecting, but most importantly, where are we going? From GoDaddy, please welcome Sonia Talati.
Well, thank you everyone for joining and for that wonderful introduction. Can you all hear me? Is this good? All right. Good afternoon. I know a lot of people have made their way out here from far away, so appreciate that. So today we're going to talk about the future of conversational AI. I think it's really well set up by our previous speaker who showed us an example of what a virtual assistant in what is now the present, but we can say is going to develop more and more into our future, is all about. So my presentation today really focuses on one main thing, and that is we have to determine what is human. What do we as humans contribute that nothing else can? No animal, no machine, no artificial intelligence. We have to then take this distinctive quality and consider it as we do our work in conversational AI. So, I have a very big goal here today. I want to inspire you. I hope we walk away from this desiring to do more thinking and soul-searching in the actions we are taking and implementing this work. And I want you to begin thinking about your roadmap for your professional endeavors. We're a new industry, relatively speaking, so there's a lot that will take planning in the next several years towards this cause. And it'll take collective thinking like we're experiencing in this room today. That is, if we want to make it and not end up like the starry-eyed in a state of dystopia, Harrison Ford in Blade Runner, The Final Cut. If anyone's seen that movie, great movie. I was asked to speak in London in September at Rework's Conversational AI Summit and talked about the human touch. I thought it was going to be a one-time thing that lasted at least for some while and was then asked to speak here. And then things started to happen. ChatGPT came out in November, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But oh my God, this has definitely accelerated. What started out as a single moment has turned into my quest for determining what being a human is all about, so we can then apply that delineation as we develop artificial intelligence. For those of you who missed it in London, this is part one. Movies like The Terminator, Blade Runner, and Her, oh, there we go, leave a sentiment that artificial intelligence can eventually beat us humans at our own game. Skynet wanted to terminate humans, and it took a handful of movies for humans to finally secure a victory. And here we are, we find ourselves working in the very industry, developing this very intelligence, often with the goal of making it so good that it's human-like. We just saw a virtual assistant that looked, felt, sounded like, and spoke like a human being. So, by show of hands, how many of you in this room have been asked a question tied back to entertainment about robots by those who might not be in the industry? I see one, hands popping up. You know, oh, do you mean like Her? Do you mean like in Black Mirror? Is that what you're doing, like in Westworld? So there's a few people who just raised their hands, and maybe there are more who maybe shy too. But we have a really big responsibility to humankind to making sure we develop intelligence in a way that shapes the future in a positive way and not a destructive one. We don't want to end up with someone like this guy. So, we're going to play a little bit of a game here, and it's going to require the audience interaction. So I hope you're all ready and have had enough coffee this morning. So, here are 3 robots with increasing levels of humanness with each subsequent letter. So we're going from A, B to C, meaning the least to most human-like in this example. So I want you all to stare at these for a few seconds and I want to learn, what do you feel comfortable with? A, which is a virtual assistant that can help with tasks and answer questions and has a cartoon-like appearance, something we see oftentimes today in our day-to-day use with chatbots as we're seeking customer support help and whatnot. B is a robot as an actor, in this case, Brad Pitt. And C, a soft-faced, human-looking robot that can generally have a conversation with you on many different topics. So, with a show of hands, what do you feel comfortable with? And if you feel A, please raise your hand. Sorry? Okay. Can hold that thought. B. Okay, few less hands, okay. And C. I think almost equal as B. Okay, interesting. So we're seeing A as a clear winner and a tie between B and C. Let's remember that. Now, what do you foresee crossing into real life today in the mass market? I'm talking about today and maybe not the future for this question. So if we think A, please raise your hand. What we think is out there in the mass market, okay. B? Okay. C? All right, so lots on A, almost no one on B, and a few on C. And what do we foresee people will become comfortable with in 3, 4, 5, 8 years from now? All right, last question. A? B? Okay, C? Okay, almost split even, but a slight winner on C over here. So this is very interesting because we have a dichotomy here even within ourselves of people in this field. People feel comfortable with A, but people believe that we're going to end up becoming comfortable with C on the mass level. So it's almost like we individually feel different than where we think society as a whole is going to go. And surprisingly, these are actually similar results as what we noticed in London, and I think that poses a very interesting question. What we're comfortable with is different than what we think people will be comfortable with. So I think there's a lot of conversation that we need to have to kind of figure out and exfoliate that a bit more. So, and really, this is really why we have to begin thinking about this now. It's something that there's so many differing opinions on. It's important to have a point of view as we continue on into this, and that's why I would like to talk about this topic. So I wasn't expecting part 2 to come so soon, but then ChatGPT came out in November, and I really feel like the future is now here. It's sort of breaching, not that we have reached the point of being able to be super cool with robots in the mass market, but we now have technology that makes those things more possible than ever before. So we have to think about this as humans because the technology is here, and if we don't, we'll end up with this guy who is in love with someone who is in love with multitudes of people because she was a robot. So conversational AI no longer exists in isolation but blends into AI. It becomes a tool and modality that applies to different types of industries and is more applicable now than ever before. So we move from thinking about intelligence from a single, use case specific to business to multifaceted intelligence about the world like humans have. ChatGPT, for example, isn't just there to answer questions about specific topics. It can have a conversation with you about many different things. And large language models are beginning to change and make that a reality. So our dreams of having a personal assistant that can do tasks and answer any kind of question we have are coming true more quickly and quickly by the year. A friend of mine wanted to send an apology text for cheating on his new girlfriend and asked ChatGPT to do it. Here's what it said. I'm really sorry, but I've been doing some thinking, and I don't think we're the right fit for each other. I don't want to lead you on or waste your time. You're a wonderful person, and I wish you nothing but the best in your search for happiness. I hope you can forgive me for any hurt this may cause. It's pretty good, right? So let's observe this from the sender and receiver's perspective. So we'll put on the receiver hat first, being the new girlfriend, or we can say boyfriend. We have both genders in this room. So how would you have liked to receive and known this was something that ChatGPT had created? If anyone wants to volunteer some answers. Yes? Yes. Yeah. Good point. Thank you for sharing that. Do one more. Why? Yes. Yes. Well, I'm sure if I had presented a bit of information, maybe it would have added it. Let's do one more. That's an interesting topic. Think somebody in there, yes?
The artificial part of it is as bad as the real life.
So it's the same. It's just the act itself is
same.
what's the important part, and it doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. Okay, let's put on the sender's hat now. So, was it okay for this person to send this using ChatGPT versus curating it on his own? What do we think about that? I see a head nod. I'm just going to pick on you.
They're still in some way taking the time to actually find the words to say, and it might be that they're not comfortable in putting them down themselves, and they're just using the tool, hopefully as a draft, and not just to send it straight. But yeah, I think it is.
Thank you. Yeah? In the back, yeah?
So this seems like it's almost no different than, okay, anybody here who's tried to write an email, I'm pretty sure you've taken your time trying to pick out words. But in Gmail now, there's that, you click a tab, I think I'm like being creative, but Google is telling me I'm not. I sound like everybody else, and this to me kind of sounds similar to that.
Thank you. I think we have one more in the back, and then we'll come to you. Oh, wait, we can go either way.
Sorry, who was the one at the back?
See Kane in the back there.
Cool. As the sender, I would initially I'd be quite happy with that, because I think, well, that saved me a job. It kind of gets a message across. That's, job done, pretty sound. In this context, it's a bit harsh. If you're with someone and you're basically, from the receiver's point of view, it's kind of like this person doesn't even care enough to even write their own texts. Am I actually being broken up with because I would feel a bit robbed, basically. But from the sender's perspective, I think it's different. I kind of see what you're doing here, which is very interesting, which is that I think the dynamic is, from a sender's perspective, it's fine, whereas from a receiver's perspective, you feel a bit kind of cheated and a bit robbed. Does that make sense?
Yes, like it doesn't have the human touch on the receiver's end. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. So I would like one opinion on, would it change if you were this person's fiance and you've been with them for a long time and you got this text? Can I just see some head nods, yes or no? Okay, I see a lot of head nods as yes. That's interesting. Okay. So that's just keep that in mind, how we perceive truth and authenticity, especially when it comes to that feeling of human-to-human connection, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But, there's a Japanese romantic comedy, Cyborg She, and this gentleman seemed to have quite a romantic time with his robot girlfriend, and quite the romance story here. So these things are, potentially not too far off. So, Mind Valley CEO Vishen Lakhani said ChatGPT is an enabler of Tim Urban's concept of the human colossus. A human colossus is the collective intelligence of human beings to problem solve. It accumulates and grows based on what it's fed. A network of unique perspectives can create solutions a single person never could. Two heads are better than one. We've heard that, right? So, with access to the collective intelligence, individuals can solve problems faster than ever before. And with this, the gap between human and machine closes up more than ever before as well. And machines further can be in service of human beings because of their intelligent nature. And this is the exciting part. We're stepping into a new era of collaboration, so to speak, between the two. It also changes as what we define as truth. As we just saw from our feelings about how it changes, especially like if you've known somebody for a long time, that authenticity starts to disappear. And we can start to wonder, is this a real person? Is this the person's authentic viewpoint and feeling? And that's where I feel like we get into a bit of the concerning part. So my second takeaway is we must be aware of potential consequences of relying too much on AI and use it responsibly, being vigilant in its impact on society. So that's what I want to zero down on here, because I think we often hear thoughts like this, but to really know what that means, how are we going to come up with that, I think is really where the question is. So, what are we really building here, and how much do we want humans to do versus robots? So, my viewpoint is that ChatGPT, for example, is a tool that's a container for collective expressions that humans have ideas on. So tools like ChatGPT, Midjourney, for those of you who aren't familiar with Midjourney, it's a tool that essentially helps build images based on prompts that you provide it. So instead of text, it's imagery. These kinds of tools create what humans usually have done for a long time, right? Singing, dancing, expression, music, writing, painting. These are all forms of human expression that we now can rely on machines to do. Imagine the next iteration now, where instead of us having to ask the machine, oh, I want to create this, I want to write this, I want to send this letter, the machines themselves can begin to prompt other machines to create those things. That will be the next iteration, and those things are already here. There's tools out there already in existence that do prompt engineering quite well. So that is already around and something that will be part of our very, very near future. Now we keep going. Now imagine that AIs can generate the ideas of what to ask about because they know what problem they would like to solve, know how to ask it, and solve it with beautiful outputs like humans would do. So if we start imagining the future, we can start imagining that the complexity increases with time, like with any other technological advancement that's ever happened in human history. But this time, it's an intelligent advancement, and that's why, unlike anything we've ever experienced before, it's important to have these conversations because this kind of technology can train itself and grow to have its own mind. Yes? Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I will obviously be here all day today and tomorrow for questions, but I just want to, I was coming to a close anyways, but I just want to leave you with the thought that this is something that I hope just sparks inspiration for conversation, and it's a piece of my journey that I'll continue to explore and delve into to really find out what that delineation is. I don't think I have the answer, and I think it's an answer that has to come from all of us as a collective. And I wish everyone the best as they go into this field and pursue whatever they're pursuing. Yeah, I think that's it. And that's my contact if anyone would like to connect with me. Thank you.